Hello everyone. For this video, someone requested seeing how I paint Christmas ornaments on the outside, and it's nothing fancy. I don't do anything really special to get them painted, but I think it's more so because when you start to paint them, it doesn't look very good, and I think that's why there's a question on how to paint them. So this is just a plastic ornament, and I do the glass ones the same way. I just pull this out, and then I got this dowel rod, and I stick it in the center here, and I just wrap paper towel around this. I'll show you exactly what I do. And I'll probably speed through this part of the video because you could see it. You don't have to watch it so slowly. But I just wrap this, and it takes a few layers. And I usually have one made, but I've been on vacation, and so I don't have it ready. And see, that's still too big, so I'll just add to it till it holds it pretty well. Okay, see how it's kind of tight going in? Alright, so then this is just held here, like that. And I got a coffee cup here because I'm going to put it in like so. And just have it hang off of there to dry. Let's see if I can. Okay, I'm going to use this. I always use multi-surface paints. So this is just the Apple Barrel multi-surface. And then I mix a little bit of this multi-purpose sealer because it helps to adhere to slick surfaces. So I'm just adding a little bit of that green down into that, and I just mix this. And then you got to basically layer it onto the ornament, because the first time you paint it, it doesn't adhere very well. I just take it and spread it out, and it's see-through. It doesn't look good. That's normal. I just make sure I get the whole thing covered, and I try and get so that it's not globbed on there. I'm just getting a real thin coat. Because those lines, if you leave the lines, it'll dry on, it'll be blotchy. So I just try and smooth it out as best I can and get just a very thin coat of it on there. All right, so this is what I got going. And it's see-through. You see how it's see-through in areas, but it's got a thin coat of paint. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to blow dry it. And there's no trick to that. I'm going to take it off screen to do it because I don't want to hit the counter and mess stuff up. But all I'm doing is taking a blow dryer to it and drying this a little bit. So I'll be right back. Now that didn't take that long. I don't make sure it's meticulously dry or anything. I just get it so it looks, it lightens the color when it dries. So now I'm going to put another coat on. And this coat is still kind of see-through. And I just pull it down the sides and from the top to the bottom, and then I flip and I do the bottom to the top. And I get a thicker coat on here. This is, you know, it takes 2-3 coats at least. It depends on the color. This one might take 4 because it's rather transparent. And I miss spots, but I'll go over them again later. So now I'll take this, blow dry it again, and we do another layer. And I kind of go a little bit thicker the more layers in I am, because you could just see it's not drinking nearly as much. And it's just coating it because it has something to grip to. And it doesn't have to be perfect, especially if you're going to paint the whole thing over the top. It's just giving you color underneath and something for the other paint to grab onto. A lot of times I'll just do one coat and then put it in the coffee cup and let it set, and I won't blow dry it because it doesn't get as chunky that way. I don't know if you can see, but it kind of chunks up here if you don't get it perfectly dry. But like I said, it doesn't really matter if you're going to paint the whole thing. You're not going to see it. So I'm going to go blow dry this again. I'll be back again. So on to another coat. And I just look for where it looks kind of see-through and I add more paint. And I just keep going back and forth and blow drying it. So, I don't know if you can see, but it's getting more and more solid as we go. So I'm gonna do more because I still have spots I can see through. And a lot of times when I'm done and this is dry, I'll actually take a flashlight, shine it in the end of it, and see if I'm light on paint anywhere. Okay, so I'm pretty good here. Now I'm gonna pause the camera and get one and show you how I spray it in the end. And then I'll refilm this globe when this is dry and show you what it looks like. So now I'm just going to set it. Pull this out. I just set it like this and let it sit. Now you see how it's darker there? You can see it really good there. It's kind of blotchy. But when it dries, it won't look like that. It dries evenly. So I'm just going to let that sit and I'm going to get the other one and I'll be right back. Okay, now I never spray in my office. I always do this outdoors. So I've got to do it in here so I can film it. So don't do what I'm doing. Take it outside and do this. But this is the spray I use to seal them. Krylon Matte Finish. And you got to make sure you shake this can, because if you don't, you'll get white film all over your ornament. So this is one I made before I went on vacation, and I haven't sprayed it yet. And I just put a string here like this so that I can hold it up in the air. And I usually take it like that so it's kind of tight and I can hold the end. But I'm not going to drop it because I have the string there, so if I do drop it, it doesn't go crash into the floor. And there's not much to it. I just spray it all over. And you need to be, about like this distance from it. And just spray it all over it. And I don't know if you could see, but it's shiny. You see, it looks like it kind of puddled there. That's okay. I just make sure I get it wet all over it. Front, back, bottom. Now I got a pretty good coat. And it looks shiny and wet in some spots it doesn't because it dries like really quick. Now I'll just let this hang like this on this string. I just hang it from one of my cabinets in here and let that dry. Now it suggests 2 hours, And I'll let it sit for at least an hour, and then I'll go spray it again. But make sure you get a thick coating, like this front I'm not happy with already. And make sure it looks wet. And then just let this dry, and it's gonna dry matte. It's a matte spray, and it may look like it's pooling, but it won't show like that when it dries. So I'm gonna let this sit, and then I'll bring it back on and I'll spray it again, and I'll let you see what the ornament ends up looking like painted after that's dried, and what this looks like after it's dried. So I will be back in a little bit. Okay, so this one's pretty dry and ready to paint, and it's a little bit blotchy, but it's not bad. That's how I paint them. Let's see. Okay, so there. So I don't have any painted here except for the one that I sprayed. I already gave them all away. But this is what this looks like when it's done. And it was runny over here when I sprayed it, but now it's not. It's just dry. And then I usually take this off and I put a ribbon on here instead. But that's just the matte spray. Now if you want the shiny spray, I use this brand. But make sure you're done painting whatever you're going to paint on it, because once you spray the stuff, you can't paint over the top of it. It won't adhere to it right. So get it the way you want, and then you can do either like a matte or you could do a gloss. And that's all I do for them. And I've had them a couple years just with this matte. Oops, I didn't have the lid on, sorry. Just with this matte Krylon on there. And they're perfect. They don't, and I have them in outdoor storage, so I was a little afraid with the temperature changes and that my paint would like melt off of here, but they haven't. They're fine. So if you're worried about it, I'd store them indoors. But that's all I do to mine, and that's how they come out. I got a few more videos that I'm going to be making. The people requested while I was on vacation. I'm back home now. I got a lot going on. I'm going to have post a video in the next few days. I'm going to have to make some changes to my schedule, but I'll elaborate on all that when I make that video for you guys. I'm going to try and get the videos that were requested done and out of the way before I do that. So I hope you found this helpful. There isn't anything really complicated to painting your ornament. It's just multiple layers on there, and make sure you use the multi-surface paint. Oh, and also I've got these. I bought these a while ago. This is Liquitex spray paint in a can. Now these work really nice if you don't want to layer your paints so much, brushing it on. You need to do the multi-surface first, like just that super thin coat on there, and then these work great. You can spray over the top of it, and then it'll have like has a little bit more of a texture to it because it's coming out of a spray can, but these cover really nice. The only drawback to using this over the other paint is if you make an error painting your ornament, you got to spray some of this like onto your palette so that you can paint over the top if you have to, or if you got lines to paint over. It's kind of a pain to get some of this out so you can match it up. But as far as coverage goes, this is wonderful. But make sure you do the multi-surface on the ornament first, or this will run off the sides. I've tried. It doesn't adhere without that on there. But that's my take on what I do, and I'm no expert, but that's what I do, and they come out beautiful. So I hope that's helpful, and I will talk to you guys all tomorrow. See you till then. Bye.